At Atlas Valuation, we approach the appraisal process differently. For us, it's not about being the biggest. Instead, we take pride in providing the very best to our chosen clients and emphasize delivering a superior borrower experience, unrivaled service, competitive pricing, and prompt delivery. To learn more, visit atlasvms.com or call or click on the banner below this video.
Happy Friday, friends. Let me ask you a quick question. Over the past 2 years, how many major life changes have happened to you? A job change, a move, health challenges, financial shifts, or even family transitions. And what if I told you that each of those events carries a measurable stress score? And when you add them all together, the total can actually predict your susceptibility to stress-related illnesses. Today, I want to share with you something that my wife, a registered nurse, gave me, and it's called the Life Stress Test. It's a short assessment that really measures how much cumulative pressure that life events are placing on us. And by the way, yes, she can provide me with a score without having to use the worksheet. As the Beatles sang, boy, you're going to carry that weight. The truth is that most of us do not consciously track our stress. We track our tasks, our goals, and loans in the pipeline. We track funded loans. But we rarely track the weight of life events that quietly accumulate in the background. And what struck me about this particular test is not just the list of events, it's the realization that many of us may be carrying far more weight than we realize. The test works like this. It assigns a point value to major life events that have occurred in the last 12 to 24 months. And some of them are quite obvious. The death of a spouse, divorce, losing a job, serious illness. But what is interesting is that many positive life events, they also carry stress points. Marriage, retirement. These small changes, they add up. And changes in sleep habits, change in your work responsibility, changes in your social activities or social circle, each of those events carries a point value. Now, when you add them all together, your total score is going to indicate if you are potentially susceptible to a stress-related illness, and we don't want that. A score under 150 suggests a relatively low susceptibility. Between 150 and 299 suggests moderate susceptibility, but a score of 300 or more, that indicates a high likelihood of stress-related illnesses, and it suggests that maybe we need to begin to practice stress management. Now, here's the part that made me stop and really think. Most of us do not experience stress as a single dramatic event. Instead, stress accumulates over time. Now, think about the last couple years in your own life. Perhaps you changed careers, or you changed companies or lenders. Maybe you took on new responsibilities, experienced a health challenge within your family, or had a financial adjustment and even moved into a new city. Now, individually, each of those events may not seem overwhelming, but when you begin to add several of them in the last year or two, well, then the pressure begins to mount in ways that we don't always really recognize. And sometimes it shows up as fatigue. Oftentimes it can appear as irritability or the inability to focus or having a shorter attention span. And sometimes it manifests physically through headaches, poor sleep, or other symptoms we don't really immediately connect to the stress. The lesson here is not that stress is inherently bad. In fact, many of the events, as I mentioned earlier on this list, are the very milestones that move our lives forward. The real lesson is awareness, because once you recognize the load that you have been carrying in the last year or two, then you can begin to manage it more intentionally. And that could mean slowing down just for a bit. It may mean working to improve your sleep habits. It could also mean spending more time with those who restore your energy, or just simply acknowledging the fact that, you know what, the past couple of years, they may have included more change than I've realized. Now, for you watching, mortgage professionals and reverse pros, especially for those of you in leadership or sales roles, you can often feel that pressure to appear resilient at all times. That's the pressure to avoid showing any chink in our armor, and it's common. But resilience is not pretending that stress doesn't exist. Resilience is recognizing pressure early enough that you can adjust it before it becomes something much bigger. So here's a simple exercise for all of you this weekend, and I've already taken the test myself, but take a moment and think back over the last 2 years. What major life events have occurred? What changes have taken place in your work, your family, or your daily routines? because sometimes the most important step toward being resilient is just simply recognizing the weight that you have been carrying. By the way, you can click on the link below this video and take the test yourself. And once you do see your score, you can then begin to lower it one piece at a time. And that is your Friday's food for thought. But before you go, be sure to thank our sponsor, Atlas Valuation, doing great work in residential appraisals. You can learn more by clicking on their banner below this video, fill out a short form, and they will be in touch with you shortly. Have a great weekend.